elite runners, fitness racing, the hybrid athlete. It's all coming together. Hello and welcome to On The Rox podcast with me, Coach Marshy. Hope everyone is well. So this week's episode is quite an exciting one for me. This idea of the elite runner coming over to the sport of fitness racing. So let's welcome in to the episode this week's guest. Hello and welcome to you, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your time and appreciate having you here. What I always do at the beginning is kind of declare whether I've met the guest or not. And we, of course, met at the end of the Deadly Dozen UK season in Macclesfield, where you, I think, took part in your first Deadly Dozen. Was that right?
Yeah, my first one.
Brilliant. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, and we'll get into the ins and outs of that soon. But before we go any further, why don't you give us kind of a little bit of an overview as to sort of who you are in terms of an athlete, what your kind of life looks like in terms of like jobs and your day-to-day life, just to give us a setting of the scene, especially around the idea of elite runners coming into the sport of fitness racing.
So my name's Rachel and I am now a hybrid athlete, but I was formerly a road runner for Team GB and I moved over, it's nearly 18 months ago now. So it's quite different to what I was doing previously. I'm also full-time as a health and fitness coach. So my day-to-day life is full of coaching other people, long hours, mostly in gyms, but I love what I do, working with people and helping them achieve their goals, as well as me pursuing different goals that I have for myself as an athlete.
And within your sort of coaching side of things, are you sort of specialized in an area already, or is it kind of fitness racing is becoming part of that?
It will do a lot more, but I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I teach every kind of fitness class under the sun, and I also do nutrition and life coaching and rehabilitation and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do lots of different things all at once, in different shapes and forms.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And then in terms of your sort of athletic background, and you mentioned road running, being part of Team GB, you know, you look through Instagram bios these days, you can kind of get a little snapshot, and you've got on there elite runner. Do you want to just give us a little bit of background on sort of your running career and how that went for you, and why you sort of decided to make that transition recently?
So I did run for Team GB, and that was in 2023. I actually only became elite at the end of 2022, whereas I was just an amateur runner before that. But I was doing marathons since I was finishing up my degree at uni, and I did my first London Marathon in 2025. No, when I was 25. So it was 2017.
Cool.
So then I went and I was trying to do the world majors. So I managed to go around the world doing that, but that was like 3.5 hours, nothing special, amateur runner. And then I managed to take off about 20 minutes off my marathon time and run a 2:39 in 2022. So that got me onto Team England. And then I went and did London again, and I came second for the British women. So I got a silver medal there. And then Team GB got involved. I went to Tokyo and I raced in the international category of the marathon there. And that was my final world major marathon, and actually won it. So got the gold medal. So Team GB asked me to go and represent in the World Championships. So I did the 50K for them later on in that year, came 5th, and we got the team gold. So it was a kind of an incredible opportunity that I had to grab with both hands. But along the way, there's lots of ups and downs throughout that whole journey. And I picked up so many injuries and they just accumulated and stacked on top of each other. And I knew that the physios were kind of, it wasn't good. They were kind of like, oh, this is not really going anywhere. You know, so at what point are you going to call it a day? When they start talking about retirement, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So training wasn't going amazing because I had to limit my mileage. I was in so much pain and having to get so much treatment for different injuries. Yeah, I got to the point, it was last summer, so in 2024, I got a final injury. I had a fall and my ankle went. So that was it for me. I knew that my career was probably over in terms of being a road runner. And that was the same day I started hybrid training, because I hobbled into the gym, went to the ski, went to the row, thought I better do some other kind of cardio. As soon as I can't run, what am I going to do? And I started on the ergs.
That's really cool. Like a really positive kind of reaction in that moment. I think, you know, every athlete will deal with injuries differently, I guess. But for you to have sort of that thought process and get some cardio in. I mean, if we're talking about engines and cardio base, you know, you're absolutely built and ready to go to any endurance sport that you could move over into. And on the last show I did, actually, there was a question about, or we questioned as we were talking through this idea that the hybrid fitness race or the fitness race has given certain athlete types a second chance at an athletic career. How does that make you feel when I sort of pose that kind of question? Is that true for you?
Yeah, I think so. And because it involves so much running, but it's not just running. So there's so many more elements to it. So for me, I've now retired. I did follow my physio's advice. Retiring from road running and going into something different where I can still run, and I do still run those Ks fast. And no matter what event it is, if it's got running in it, then I will be flying around. Obviously it's different distances for different types of events, but I'm still quick. But that fitness, that means I can also do the stations quite well. Building the size and the strength and the muscle and the power, that's a completely different element, which is where people like runners are going to struggle, which is why the open kind of competition suits them a lot better than the pro levels. But it does give so many opportunities for them to maybe take it in a different direction and not just stick to running.
Yeah, no, I think well, there's many sports where the crossover's been there, but I think you're like the third person on the show within the last 12 months that has been at that elite running level in a certain discipline, and then actually you're now heading over into the hybrid fitness racing world where you've actually found some success there as well early on as well. So my kind of question on that is, what was the gap between deciding that was it for the road running and the first kind of competitive competition that you went to in terms of hybrid and in terms of fitness racing? Did you get caught up in the HYROX boom? Did you do something else? You know, where did that start?
I did HYROX first. I had a really good friend who'd said to me, I think it was about June, he'd said to me like, oh, there's this thing called HYROX and there's a ballot. I think you'd really like it. It's your kind of thing. So we put in together, hoping that we'd get a ticket for London. And we did, we both got tickets, and it just came at the right time because it was maybe a few weeks later that I fell and my ankle was done. Like I was on crutches, I was hopping about. I knew that I wouldn't be running for a while. And that's when I thought, well, better get started and give this hybrid thing a shot. So I started with the ergs and then built up and started with some sleds and other things. And then it was October, I went to Birmingham and did my first open. And at that point, they'd only just changed the rules from 75 wall balls to 100. So like all the records had been like wiped clean because it was now 100 wall balls. So it was kind of all fresh and new. I think it was like a few weeks earlier. It's all been like reset, like, okay, well, they're not comparative anymore because we've got 25 extra wall balls. So I knew I had an opportunity to kind of take a record if I wanted it. And I went straight in with that one. I won Birmingham overall with a new British record. And it was my first go. I messed it up big style. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, where I was going. I was running about, going to the wrong place, getting, like caught up with people because I was in the wrong wave. No one knew what I was capable of, and no one knew who the hell I was.
Yeah.
And there's a theme that keeps happening no matter what event I go into. It's like, who is this girl? Once they say go, I've gone.
Yeah, I've got a story of my own on that, which I'll tell now, and then we'll talk about Deadly Dozen later still. But I sort of doing the microphone and doing the MC work at Deadly Dozen now. We kind of watch the waves as they go off from the other end of the track, if you like. And as you shot out, myself and Paul Gillingham, I think it was, we said, is she going to be able to maintain that? Is she doing that every run? Or do you think that's just like enthusiasm? And then we watched Labour 1, Labour 2, Labour 3, Labour 4. And it's like, oh, that girl out there, she's maintaining this speed now. Let's see what happens after the goblet squats. And we'll talk about that later on. We'll hold that point for now, but we'll just go back to the HYROX thing. So I'd imagine HYROX have seen that quite a few times. In terms of your experience of that, did you know you were out of place immediately once you'd kind of started the run? Were you like, hold on a minute, maybe I should have gone with some more sort of elite end athletes here?
I did when I started in Birmingham. No, I was just given allocated a time. I actually didn't even intend to do Birmingham because I had a ticket for London, but one of my friends dropped out and I bought her ticket from her. So really, it was all down to her, me getting this British record. So I ended up doing Birmingham very short notice and went with my friends, and it was purely for let's see what it's like. Let's give this a go. London is the A goal. So let's just see how it happens. Let's see what happens. And like, I really enjoyed Birmingham actually, because it was my first one and I was just there without any pressure. And I was just there to kind of find my feet. I just happened to get British record at the same time.
And I mean, it's great. I mean, there's a few stories like that. There's a few stories even with some of our older athletes in the gym. They kind of turned up. We didn't know what HYROX was, and they ended up winning the event and then qualified for world champs. And it's like, oh, now what? We better go to world champs, and now we're hooked. And that's 4 years ago. So, that kind of how it's gone for us. But for you, since that moment in Birmingham, getting that British record, how's the HYROX journey been? What's it involved for you?
It's not been easy, being honest. I wrote to them after Birmingham and was like, hi, I'm new. I need help. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get what I do next. Like, can you help me? And they were like, no. Basically, we don't care about you. So I was like, okay. So I got a ticket late notice as well to do Manchester. So I went there. I won that. I came in second behind Lucy Davis overall. And I did a 102 there. So it was slightly quicker, but I was pretty sick on the day. So I kind of like rode well, managed to get round. And I still managed to chip away at that PB a little bit. And then the A goal was London. So I was like, right, so let's go to London. Let's target sub-hour. I had a disaster in London. Everything went wrong. It was so stressful. I did win unofficially, and I forgot to put my time and chip on.
Oh. No way.
It literally was a disaster. Everything that went wrong. So I did officially win London HYROX. I came in overall second behind Sinead Bent. But I should have got another podium, another flag, and I had no time and chip, no record that I even was present at the event, because it wasn't even a did not finish. It was a did not start.
Oh, wow. That's a story.
Wasn't even there, and I killed myself running that race, and I still managed to get through it all despite all the challenges, and I didn't have my time and chip. But it is what it is. I took it as a learning lesson, and it was a good training session. I know I was there. I got the finisher's patch, even if it's not on record that I was present.
That's how do you look at that story now? Because from an outsider's perspective, and like even someone who coaches as well and does a lot of hybrid coaching, that's like that's a massive like listen to Rachel there. Make sure you put your timing chip on.
Yeah, put your timing chip on.
Big,
I mean, with my
story.
friends, we laugh about it. It's the joke because it's not just happened once. That has happened multiple times. So in some hybrid events, I now have my own special wave. It's called the forgetful athlete wave, when I forget to put my timing chip on and have to do a restart. But it's part of me. It's part of who I am as an athlete. Oh, sorry, I forgot my timing chip again.
Is it one of those moments where when you forgot the timing chip and you finished, were your friends kind of like, is your personality that type where your friends sort of said a bit of a joke quite quickly and then went, oh, is that too soon type of thing? Or did you take it well?
Yeah, my friends are amazing. I love my hybrid friends to pieces. And like, they know me as, I'm not just an athlete, I'm a person, I'm a human being. So like they were kind of tracking me and being like, she's not started, what's gone on, what's happened, like why haven't we got any times? And I was completely on my own in London. That was part of the problem. I had nobody there, I had no support. It'd been really stressful just getting there because all the trains were cancelled, so it was just a nightmare. And then I was like, right, I'm still going to do this. I was on the phone crying to my friends about 30 minutes before because I was like, my stress levels had gone through the roof. And I was like, I've still got to do a HYROX. I still did it and I still won. I just didn't have my timing chip. But yeah, it's the joke now. I've been told the next one, I need to think of it as a prison tag and basically treat myself as an inmate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, you've set me up every time you're at a Deadly Dozen in the UK or any championship races that I'm on the mic. I'm going to, Rachel, you got a time chip.
Yeah. She's got it on.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be like, you got it on, Rachel. You definitely got it on, yeah? Yeah, no, funny. That is, it's one of those many stories from out there, right? We all have these stories from out there in our sort of athlete worlds. And that's just one for you to tell, which is, hopefully you smile upon it and it's a great story, as hard as it was to take at the time. It's still a story, and actually funny how that turned out in regards to the person around you in terms of Sinead. Obviously, Sinead's gone on and become part of the Elite 15 now, and did amazing in her debut season in the elite world. So it's a story for forever, which is we'll say it's brilliant, but people can learn. And we'll check that Rachel's got a timing chip on at Deadly Dozen as well.
Yeah, I know, because I always forget something. So for me, like that mental side of doing hybrid racing, that is the hardest part for me. It's not the physical side of doing the exercises or the whole event. That for me, that's the easy bit, because when someone says go, I go and I do it and I'll smash it. And I'm completely confident in my ability to physically perform. Mentally, it's a real struggle. I did also get diagnosed with ADHD 6 months ago. So now when I go into events, I tell the organizers, my name is Rachel, I have ADHD. I've probably forgot something. So if I need to do a restart, is that okay? And like, sometimes they're accommodating. And like after Deadly Dozen, I had the same situation where I had to say I have ADHD and I can't remember the order of the exercises. Sorry. Can you put numbers on them? And that's who I am. I now have a diagnosis and I can say my brain can't remember what I'm doing, but I'll do it. But I just need some guidance and directions. And it's almost like I own it. This is who I am. I'm powerful, but I'm also very forgetful.
Yeah, no. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see as you get more into sort of these other races and everything else, how you adapt, how you can kind of, I don't know, you'll have your own way of doing things, won't you, as an athlete anyway?
Yeah.
But then I guess you'll find ways of working within who you are and the things that sort of have, I guess you would say, have perhaps made racing a lot harder for you, as you put it, mentally. And, it's always interesting because sports psychology is a huge part of what we all do. And I think it got forgotten about for a long time. You know, how long did we exist in sport without psychology, right? And now when you look at, like you're saying there, decision making about where you're meant to go, you know, should I go left or right out of the sleds? Should I, you know, what exercise was next? You know, that type of thing. It's a real thing. And I think people misunderstand that the hardest part of probably hybrid racing is maybe not actually getting round. It's actually the rest of it that goes with it. And I've certainly had members that have fed that back to me. It'll be interesting in your coaching role as well to see, you know, if you develop into this side of things and have first time HYROXers, I'm sure you'll have a lot of learned advice from your own experience that you'll be able to sort of pay forward as well. So yeah, I find that fascinating. In fact, I find behavior and people fascinating, especially around sport. And, you know, I'd be a liar to say there's not things that are probably my bugbear that are always wrong with me, or that I always forget that, or, you know, and it just might be a ritual before the event with me. But yeah, it all makes sense, Rachel. And I like that you're open about it and that you've owned it as well. There's absolutely no shame in that. And it's good that you've kind of said that on here as well, because
it's part of who I am. And I expect that going forwards, it is going to feature how I am as an athlete and how I perform on race days. And there's a lot of factors and things that I have to manage. But it also, it says to people that it's okay to have a condition, whether it's a physical or a mental one. You can still be an athlete. You can still perform. It doesn't have to be a limitation. It's just a factor that you learn to manage.
Yeah.
And for me, ADHD is absolutely a superpower when it comes to sport. There's so many of us, and amongst the top athletes and elite athletes, so many of us are on the neurodivergent spectrum somewhere. And it's a gift, and it's being brilliant, even though there are some things that are more difficult to manage, like remembering the order of things and slowing down or reining things in at times.
Yeah, because you might get that, I don't know, let's say people rein it in the run slightly before the burpees, for example. You know, are you going to remember to do that? Is that tactic going to come into play when it could get you a first, but it might be the difference between the margins in sport between fourth and first are massive. You know, they're tiny, but they're massive sort of things that if you get wrong, you can be from the podium to 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever. But no, it's a great way of putting it. Superpower. I like that. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. So talking about sort of British records and HYROX, let's move on to that logo for those that are watching on your crest there.
This one.
So your Deadly Dozen skull. So I'll start with, I love Deadly Dozen. We met at Deadly Dozen. At the end of your race, we met. However, as you've now found out, I had an opinion about you before then because of the run one. You come flying out the blocks, like you said, and I think a lot of people are starting to agree. The data is still kind of being collected and analysed, but that goblet squat labour, things, we've seen that change when very competent athletes have come into the sport of Deadly Dozen. We've seen people sort of fall off at that point, but you still carried on running hard and you still did really well, and your speed didn't drop. And we were noticing that every single labour, the speed wasn't dropping on the runs. And we were like, hold on a minute. This is going to be like, look at the time. This is going to be close to a world record. And you got the British record that day. And missed out on the world record by, just remind me, it was
about a minute.
Right?
I did get a penalty, which didn't help.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have got it anyway. But yeah.
So first experience of Deadly Dozen, how did you end up on that start line? Was that you were roped in by a friend again?
Yeah, same friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I give them a lot of credit because they know more about hybrid racing than I do, and they're really into it. I don't really know much and kind of just get roped into doing things based on, they know me as a person. So when my friend said to me in September, why don't you do Deadly Dozen? We're going to go. I think you'd find it a breath of fresh air compared to HYROX. I take my friend's advice and I take his recommendation seriously because he knows me well as a person. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to do it. Why not? So I think I wrote to Deadly Dozen a week before. It was the Saturday. I emailed them and said, I know you sold out. But I also have a friend called Dave Parkin and we're good mates. And he says, I'd enjoy this event. Any chance you can sort me out a ticket? I am from Team GB and I will probably run quite quickly. And they sorted me out a ticket. They found me one. And they did say to me at that point, oh, if you want to reach out to our media team, you can do. And I kind of sat on it and was like, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to say, hi, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to go with my friends and enjoy myself. And just use it as an alternative fitness event. Give it a try. It's something different. So that was on the Saturday, and then I raced the following Saturday. So I didn't really give myself a lot of time to train. I had a go on the Sunday at the Labours, and I thought, well, I'm a coach. I've been in this industry for 8 years. Like, it'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. And I looked at like the format, was like scrolling through, and was like, plate carry. Messaged my friends, what kind of plate? Is it a bumper plate? Like, where am I getting these items from the gym? And they were like, just anything. And I was like, how do I carry the plate? Like, I was carrying it like this. I was like this. How do I actually physically carry this thing? So I was also in like a big box David Lloyd gym where they don't really have a big hybrid area. So I just spent that week carrying different weighted objects around the gym like the gym floor with all the gym bros doing chest day and doing leg presses, and then there's me whizzing past with different weights getting in the way, and they keep sitting up and going, what? Watching me doing laps around the gym with all kinds of different equipment, and then doing bear crawls, just going round. I had a few of my other non-hybrid friends that would just sit there and watch and laugh at what was going on, because no one's really heard of Deadly Dozen. They've seen HYROX now, but people have not seen people's not seen us like doing the plate carries and doing the bear crawl. Why are people on their hands and knees going around the gym? It's all new, so they don't really know what's going on with that. But I'm used to just, let's do it, let's be the first, let's give this a go. And it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think obviously you did the British record that day, and you know, Dave's obviously the world record holder for the men, so he knows a lot about Deadly Dozen compared to sort of the everyday person within the fitness industry. Even he knows a lot about it, and we're kind of watching you go around and you finish and stuff, and then you start hearing the little one-liners. Oh yeah, she didn't do much specific training. She only kind of had a little go last weekend at some Labours or whatever. Like, you keep hearing these one-liners and you think, okay, so there must be some transferable skills, which you've clearly demonstrated in everything we've said so far as to why that now happened that day. And, you know, from a personal point of view, it's great to understand that, of course, you ran like that. You know, you're an elite runner. Of course you were going to run like that. But a 400-meter run between, I don't know, say after a goblet squat.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not like running a track 400-meter, is it?
No, it's not, because your legs are compromised and they're fatigued. But because of the way that I train and the way that I live my day-to-day life, constantly doing classes, training, you get used to running on fatigued legs, because my legs, I would say they're probably permanently fatigued to some respect. But yeah, I still train and I'll still work hard. So yeah, you feel the burn, you feel that lactate, but then my recovery is very quick. So even when I'm running after the goblet squats, I've not actually looked at all my splits. I don't know any of the data, but I don't think I would have slowed down an awful lot from one to the next.
Yeah, no, and you were, to visually look at, very consistent. You know, as in, we're waiting for you to like slow down on those runs, and you didn't, and that was brilliant. It was great to watch. And you know, we as you know what Deadly Dozen are all about with the way Jay and everyone runs it. It's for everyone. but there's obviously going to be a top end of that. And obviously right on that event that you took part in was kind of, I think it was the kind of almost like the eve of the announcement around the idea of a British Championships and a World Championships. And your relationship with Deadly Dozen has changed slightly in terms of you developed that because you went on their first ever, I guess you want to call it, what was it, hot weather training camp? Tell us a little bit.
Deadly
Tell us about the week in Cyprus.
Yeah, so after I did Deadly Dozen and broke the British record accidentally, not that I didn't intend on doing that, and it just happened. I kind of thought, like, I really like this competition and I really enjoyed the day, the community, the vibe. And obviously, like, knowing that I was within the world record about a minute or so, then that's an obvious goal. So I'm like, okay, well, I know that if I actually train for this properly. I did also have COVID on that day. I didn't know at the time, but everybody came down with it. So I was pretty poorly for about 3 weeks afterwards. So I did not feel amazing doing that event. But, you know, I still managed to do fairly well with my performance. So like, I'm like, well, if those elements aren't there next time, then surely I must be able to sub 40. And with, you know, the British champs and with other opportunities coming in 2026, then it's something that I'm completely on board with. So for me, that's where I'm heading. I'm going down the route of Deadly Dozen. I'm not really bothered about HYROX. They're not bothered about me. Happy days. I can move into something else. Then I saw this ad on, I think it was just a post on the main Deadly Dozen page about this camp in Cyprus. And I was like, oh, well, I have been coaching abroad at camps since 2019, but it's women and it's more kind of weight loss and fitness. And I love going abroad and doing that for anything from 4 to 10 weeks a year. So I've been doing that for a while, but always as a coach and never as a participant. So when I saw that ad, I was like, works with my schedule. I'm self-employed. I can take time off. And then it said coaching sessions. And I was like, oh, that'd be great because I could do with some help to get better. And my friends helped me, but then they would not say they're experts in the field. So it said, and it linked, I knew who the coach was. So I clicked the link and I was like, oh, it's Paul. I met him at Macclesfield. So I was like, he's the one that gave me a penalty. He's Mr. Rulebook, right? So I was like, okay, if he's going to be coach, then he can A, coach me, and B, help me to abide by the rules so that next time, hopefully I don't get any penalties and I can actually like mentally manage the race and be able to deal with all the mental side of doing things in the right way. So I decided that, well, based on that, I think I should go on this camp and get the input to help me become a better athlete. And also I'll be able to engage and connect with other people that are doing likewise. So we were just a complete group of strangers at the start. And it was such an amazing week. We built such good friendships. We spent the evenings just laughing, and everybody just left like as really good friends, as well as having like learned so much about training and Deadly Dozen itself. Some hadn't even done a Deadly Dozen.
Really? So people went on that training camp and they hadn't actually taken part in the race?
Yeah. Didn't really know anything about it. I was a newbie because I've only done one. So technically, I don't really know what I'm doing either.
Was there anyone there that you would have said was really experienced, that had done quite a few of them, or was it fairly just one or two?
Well, just the hosts. The hosts have done quite a few. Fabian, who coordinates kind of the German side of Deadly Dozen, he's coordinating, so he's directing lots of different races and has been quite heavily involved, so he knows it inside out. And obviously Paul does as well. I'd like to think he knows it inside out.
Yeah, no, I would say he does. I think he does. So yeah, I mean, he's had some big calls to make, actually, including giving you a penalty, clearly. But you know, he's had some big calls as sort of head judge as well. So yeah, and then obviously his coaching background is, you know, speaks for itself across the sort of, I guess the hybrid series of fitness racing, it kind of he's well experienced in that, and he's had a good few goes at Deadly Dozen. I could be making this up, but did I see that you did a DFT?
Yes, we did. We did that on the last day when we were there.
So for anyone who's listening or watching, DFT, Deadly Fit Test, it is the rep labors only with a 400-meter run prior to it, or you can do it on the rower, the ski erg, the assault bike, the Concept 2 bike. But what did you do? What did you have available to do the DFT with? Was it a run or was it?
We had all, yeah, we did the run. We had all the kit out there when we were training. So the camp itself has got all the equipment that you need for Deadly. So and it's got HYROX. It's a HYROX training villa as well. So you've got all the HYROX equipment. And for me, it had everything that I would need to do, like my weight training, my strength training as well. So it's perfect as a little training base. So we did our sessions. We did 2 sessions every day, training sessions with a whole variety of different training features and factors. And then on the last day, we did the DFT. So we just did the runs up and down the drive because it was a really long drive. Now that was gravel, so that wasn't amazing in terms of running and turning around and running back 4 times. So it wasn't the fastest with the run. But you still got to do all the elements as well. I went last because I needed a longer time to warm up. But it was a really good way for everybody to kind of see and put into practice everything that they learned and give themselves a time to work on as they go forwards towards different events. And I hope to do a DFT every week myself in my own training, just to kind of use it as a measure how I'm doing and if I can keep improving on that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know where you actually sort of live in the north, but are you sort of around Macclesfield? Or
I'm in Liverpool.
Okay, cool. So you know there are Deadly Dozen affiliates. We're one down in the south, but there are Deadly Dozen affiliates now popping up all over the place, and DFTs, official DFTs, are going to be available pretty far and wide now, which is I think a good thing. But I actually, as a coach, I like what you said there as well from my coaching head. You know, the idea of using a DFT as a training session a bit is, I think it's ideal because those rep labors, there's no such thing as, you know, you talk about like long, slow duration or time on feet and running or whatever you want to call it. What about using like the labors in a, I don't know, like almost like a zone 2 way? I don't know, like, but you know what I mean? This kind of idea of you got to do a lot of repetitions of labors. People that do well in Deadly Dozen do lots of labor work.
Yeah,
you know, that's pretty obvious. I'd say that Dave probably does a lot of labor work, for example.
Oh yeah.
The guys that are doing really well around the world, they are doing a lot of endurance based weightlifting, if they're not doing the specific labors. But my question to you about sort of going back to Cyprus and the camps, what was kind of the review of it? Was it something that worked well? Are they going to do it again? Is it going to be something they'll increase?
Yeah, absolutely. It worked fantastically well. We did have a videographer out there who captured a lot of what was going on, all the fun that we had, and his content is amazing in terms of showing what the camp vibe was like. And like we all just got on so well, had so much fun. All of us, like we're all in touch. It's been like a month. We're all in touch. I'm actually seeing the videographer the Thursday. I'm going to see him in London, going out for his birthday. So like we've just forged really good friendships, and it was really successful in terms of like doing a Deadly camp. So myself and Paul will be back there in March and April for the next ones next year.
And are you going to be part of the team in that as well?
Potentially, that's what the plan is. I may be doing a bit more stretch and mobility and kind of helping with the whole making sure that we balance that and put more of that in, because that's part of my background, but also maybe even doing some of the nutrition and the cooking side of things and actually feeding people whilst they're at camp.
Yeah, no, it sounds really cool. And, you know, I'll for obvious reasons, be able to keep across it hopefully as well. And You never know. Might make it out. Might make it out myself as well. To one, I could do with one of those just as an athlete. You know, kind of kickstart me getting back into deadly a bit in terms of an athlete. It's good fun, I think. So,
it is, and it's focused time away where you can just focus on. Yes, it's a holiday. It's an active holiday. We did time at the beach. You've got loads of free time. Eat out, get some downtime, get time away, but also make the most of those training sessions. Work hard, work on your weaknesses, work with other people, and get the training and the coaching expertise from people that really know what they're doing. And that was my primary reason for going, was to get the expertise from someone that I knew was going to be a really quality coach, and was going to be able to help me and see what I could do and take me to the next level.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's great to hear as well, and get a perspective of it. We'll, people that will be interested will have followed Instagram, but to hear a little bit more in depth has been really cool and really nice on that. So, we'll see how that goes and develops. So the ultimate question, really, elite runner, now in the hybrid fitness racing space. You've touched on it already, but what is right now? What's your ultimate goal? What are you actually like focused on as you as an athlete?
Well, that's a difficult question. I guess for me, I want to enjoy what I do in terms of my sport. That for me is central to being an athlete, because if you don't enjoy it, what are you doing it for? It doesn't matter how good you are at something. If you don't love it and your heart's not in it, there's really no point, because sooner or later you'll just lose all motivation. So I've got to enjoy what I'm doing. I obviously I want to fulfill my potential as an athlete and kind of draw that out and work on my weaknesses and become fitter, faster, stronger in whatever shape or form that takes. I don't think I'll make it back road running, because my injuries are just, they accumulated too much, and some of these are like lifelong management, so they're not gonna get better, so the likelihood of me making it back is small. So I have to accept that and move on, and there might come a point where I have to accept that I can no longer even run those 400 reps quickly, or I can't do hybrid if it involves running or certain elements. And in that case, I just have to keep adapting and keep moving and flowing with whatever life throws at me, but keeping that enjoyment central.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's a good answer. That's a deep answer. I like it. And it's nice. And do you think if you are in the qualifying position, which I think you definitely are and will be, for the British champs, would you line up there at the British champs?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. We don't know what next year was going to bring in terms of the competition. I expect it's going to get quite steep. So at the moment, I currently have the British record, but I don't think that's going to be a guarantee for much longer, because I do think we'll have more athletes coming over from different disciplines, different backgrounds. HYROX itself, there's also a lot of prize money at that British champs, so people will jump on that because they see money behind it, and that'll be the draw. That's not the draw for me. Obviously it would help along and it will go a long way, but for me, this is a sport and it's a community-based sport, and I want to get as many people to come and join in and take part as possible, as well as being able to represent and to be able to compete myself. So yeah, British champs, I'll definitely be there, and I assume that I will still be able to qualify for the world champs through being somewhere at the top or end of the scale. But there's no guarantees. We don't know what's coming next season. We know it's going to be big and exciting.
Oh, it's going to be epic. Like, it's so exciting.
I can't wait.
Deadly Dozen 2026 is brilliant, and I think
it's going to blow up. Absolutely blow up.
I think you're right, though. I think it is going to attract a lot of people. Like you said, the prize money is going to play a part in that. But I think it's going to, like you kind of said there, like we're going to go back to HYROX. We're going to do some HYROXes over the course of our life. But we've done that a lot. And then these other things have come along and they're actually really cool. They're really good. And I love it because you've kept repeating it throughout the whole show. Community based. the community side of it is a huge factor for me, and it has been a huge factor. And you've only got to listen to the people that have been Deadly Dozen orientated on my podcast, even on Ian at UK Fitness Racing, Jay's podcast itself. Like, the feedback's common. You're saying it as well. You know, the community thing is a big thing, and people are drawn to that. And, you know, we're all looking for that community. And, you know, we're, you've said it, I love it. Your hybrid friends. You know, hybrid friends is cool. We've got loads of them. And, you know, obviously from where this goes out and the week that everyone will listen to this particular episode, there'll be thousands down in London for HYROX XL. Of course there will be. And there'll be relationships that are forged from years ago when it all first started. And that's just a nice thing, whether it be the original HYROX, whether it be a Deadly Dozen training camp in Cyprus. You know, this hybrid world has definitely given all of us like a sense of belonging and community. And for me, your Deadly Dozens, your Deca, they give it that community edge is there big time. Even though they're growing massively, they're still very community orientated, and you seem to be echoing that, which is really cool. So yeah, no, interesting, Rachel. It's been a great chat as well, but we'll get to the part of the show now. And I think you're the ideal candidate to answer this question. What would be your top 3 tips, say, for someone that is going to take on their first Deadly Dozen?
So, having only ever done one Deadly Dozen, gone into my first one at very last minute entry. I did watch the 12 Labours videos that Jay's done on the Deadly Dozen YouTube channel. They were really informative and useful to break down the 12 Labours, some of the ways that you can do the exercises, and also some, obviously, the rules and some tips and things like that. So I would recommend watching those if you're new to Deadly Dozen, because it isn't HYROX. And people might go, oh, I've done walking lunges. It's like, you've done sandbag lunges. That's different to using the dumbbells. And then there's those new elements like the plates, etc. So I'd say definitely watch the videos. Second, I would say, if you get the chance, read the rule book. It doesn't mean you have to retain all the information, because I certainly didn't. And made it up as I went along. I only got one penalty. I was actually quite surprised. I actually thought I would probably get disqualified based on the fact that I had broken. Some rules weren't even in there, but they will be added. So there'll be a few little edits in the future rule book. But read it through so that you're familiar with the do's and don'ts, and then you don't get unnecessary penalties, or you don't do things in the wrong order. So you kind of know what's coming. And then obviously the practice, go through each of the labours, because if I have friends that have gone to Deadly Dozen and haven't done it, and have just said, well, I lift in the gym and I know how to do a shoulder press and I know how to do the basics like a deadlift and a squat. And it's like, but it's a lot of reps and it's compromised legs. So have a practice first and know what to expect. It will burn and it will challenge you. And this is not an inferior competition to HYROX. This is not an easy route. Ask Dave Parkin. He will tell you it's just as challenging as a HYROX, if not more so, because you don't get the recovery on your runs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that whole answer to that question, by the way, absolutely amazing. Like the nuggets of information there for people is big, but you're right that this isn't like an easy alternative. That's such a good point. Like such a good point.
No.
It's a hard race. It's
a
hard race. It nearly killed me when I did it. It's a hard race. I think that's a really good point. And like you said, just because you've been in the gym and you do like all the bro lifts and all of that stuff, like that doesn't mean you can deadlift 60 reps of a 32 kilo kettlebell or a 24 kilo kettlebell. That doesn't mean you can do that. Like, it's a different ball game. No, it's really interesting, Rachel. That's really cool. So yeah, we could talk all night. I'm sure we could talk forever about all of this stuff. But thanks very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And if anyone out there wants to sort of follow your journey, is there somewhere they can look?
Yeah, I'm on social media. I'm not big on social media because I'm an athlete, not an influencer. But you
Nice.
can find me on there at Rachel Joy Fitness. And I kind of try and just share what I'm doing in my day to day with my training, with my racing, with my coaching. But like, I'm not someone with a tripod that films what I'm doing in each of my sessions or has professionals doing my content. This is just me as I am authentically on social media. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can find me on there. And if anyone needs any help or advice, I'll happily answer any questions. You can drop me a message anytime.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So thanks very much again, Rachel, for coming on the show. To everyone that is here sort of listening, watching, hope you've enjoyed it. There's lots of golden nuggets in there from Rachel over the show, and there's lots of things that I think represent Deadly Dozen really well, and sort of experiences from HYROX and things out there that anyone who's new to the whole hybrid fitness racing scene, you can get a lot from it. So if you think you can share this, guys, if you're listening at home and you think it's shareable and you want to send it to someone that needs that little bit of advice, then please do share. We're just the small guys. You know, we're here for fun. We're not getting paid to do this. We are the small guys in the studio recording a podcast because we are very passionate. So any likes, comments, shares are always welcomed. I'm sure Rachel will keep across the episode in terms of the platform it's put on, and any comments as well. We can always point them out to her so she can answer any direct questions there as well. But again, Rachel, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. To everyone at home listening and watching, thanks for coming, and we hope to speak more on The Rox.